Hello again, friends. I just wanted to document this process of how I am repotting my new Psychopsis, which is just so gorgeous. The leaves are just, I can't, like, even look at the underside of them, they're just too beautiful. But I'm going to go ahead, I got this today. I need to get it repotted and get it acclimated to semi-hydroponics as fast as possible. So I just wanted to recap how I do that. So as always, I want to show you what my tools are. These are just a couple of trays that I've already sterilized and cleaned. I love to have a couple trays accessible. This is 70% alcohol, so I'm going to go ahead and get my cutting tools disinfected. I like to just leave a little cup and let it soak for around 10 minutes. So let's just go ahead and get that in there. And then I have a nice little bamboo stir stick. This is my absolute favorite. This is called Physan 20. It is so effective at killing algae, fungus, bacteria, viruses. So I do a nice soak on this. I also put it into this spray bottle and will spritz the leaves periodically. It's just a great way to make sure that you're not cross-contaminating your orchids, to make sure that if it comes in with anything funky on it, you get it off before it becomes a problem. Of course, I have my 1-gallon watering can back here, which I will go ahead and create my solution with the Physan. I have my pot that I will be repotting in, and let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so first things first, I am going to go ahead and get this soaking. So I like to soak them for, I don't know, an hour, 2 hours, just to loosen the old medium from the plant itself, because sometimes it can really cling and you can wreak havoc on the root system if you go too aggressively without soaking beforehand. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so while your orchid is soaking and the medium is loosening, you can go ahead and prepare your Physan solution. So it's 2 teaspoons per gallon. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do it this way. I would strongly encourage you to add your Physan after you've filled your watering can with water, because if you do it the opposite way, it just bubbles so much that it's, I don't know, it's just like putting your cup under a soda stream and just hoping that the foam doesn't go everywhere. So you put that in there and you give it a good mix. I've got my nice little bamboo spatula for that. And you make sure it's good and fully incorporated. And now your Physan solution is ready. So now that your orchid has been soaking for about an hour or two, you can go ahead and start the process of removing the old medium. So let's go ahead and get this out of here. And we will just dump this out. I neurotically and compulsively save little plastic trays like this because they are just perfect for endeavors just like this one. But go ahead and give your pot a couple squeezes, loosen it up first, and then let it, don't just come yanking it out. That's not going to help anything. So just like let it organically fall out, just kind of gently nudge it along, and then start the process of removing the old medium. And look at all this. The root system is gorgeous. I don't know if you can see, but lots of little green tips on those roots. So this is in really good shape. I made a good choice. I feel pretty happy with this. So as best as I'm able, I'm going to remove the old medium without disturbing the root system. So I will probably do a little time lapse on this because it seems like it might be time consuming. All right, now that I have gotten the medium separated primarily from the roots, I'm going to go ahead and give this a rinse and switch trays. All right, so now that I have the orchid switched into this tray, I can go through the process of reviewing its root system to see what is good and what is rotted. So obviously, when you run it underwater, it kind of helps elucidate things because you can see, obviously these really lovely colored ones with the green tips are actively growing roots. But the ones that they're almost identical to Oncidium root systems. So if they feel really papery or mushy, or they come apart really easily, and you can see these little fibers that just look like basically a string inside of the root, you know that it is rotten. Like here's a good example. See that little guy? It's not even a root, it's just the one inside. So I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna trim off the dead roots. All right, so I think I've gotten, for the most part, the rotting and dead roots out of the system. There are some that may very well die when I transplant it and repot it, but I would rather let that happen. And one of the things to know, when you're transitioning things to semi-hydroponics, the root system will at some point start to rot. That's because it is acclimating to the new environment that it's in, and it's growing roots that are better equipped to handle the essentially the constant moisture and the specific humidity of that environment. So I'm going to let that happen. And when it does start to rot, what I like to do is just take that same Physan solution and flush it through the system, which I will show you in another video. But for right now, let's revisit the spray bottle of Physan that I have, because this container that I used to soak it originally, I'm just going to disinfect really quickly. Take the Physan and just go ahead and give it a good squirt. It's going to immediately kill anything on contact that might be left over or a cross-contaminant from the original potting media. Just go ahead and do that. Perfect. Now, I realize this may make some of you guys anxious, but I'm going to take this beautiful plant, I'm going to place it in here, and I'm going to give it a full bath in Physan solution. So the one that we prepared just a little bit ago, I'm just going to go ahead and take it and begin the process of fully disinfecting this beautiful plant. So I'm even going to submerge the pseudobulbs, and on top of that, I am going to fully spray and treat the leaves, because if there's anything hiding on there, I want it dead before it gets into my beautiful new hydroponic system. So just go ahead and take your time. Make sure you get it fully coated. The Physan is not going to hurt it. It is just literally going to kill anything that came riding in with your plant. So that's kind of what it's going to look like. God, this plant is so pretty. But that's what it'll look like. So now I'm going to let this solution sit for about 1 hour, and I will revisit this when it is done. Okay, Google, set a timer for 1 hour.
Okay, 1 hour, starting now.
Okay, friends, it has been an hour. I have washed and disinfected my hands. So now we can go ahead and get the repotting process started. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this guy out, and I'm just gonna let him dry off for a moment in there. And while that happens, it's pre-washed, it's been pre-soaked. This is the leca beads, the clay pebbles. So you can see I've already drilled the holes in my container. I'll include the link. I just created a video about how to do this. I'll put the link in the description below. But I'm gonna go ahead and fill leca beads into the container. And remember, when you're doing this, the whole idea is to make sure you don't want the root system to sit into the reservoir of water that's created here. So making sure that the bottom of your root system is above the 2 holes is going to be really important. If your plant decides to, it will grow its root system into the water reservoir, and it will be fine because it's made that choice itself and it's acclimated to that environment. But you don't want to just plop it in there because it may just drown the plant. So let's just kind of size it out and see what we're working with. I think that's actually about perfect. So I'm gonna place this guy right about here. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and fill in with pebbles. And I think I already said it, but these are pre-washed. I boil them, the leca beads, just to make sure that they're fully sanitized. And that's just a good rule of thumb. Also, when you get them, they're kind of covered in this powder coating from the clay itself, which can also be kind of harmful to the plant roots if it's not properly cleaned. So you just want to make sure you get that taken care of. And so let me just get a few more in there. All right, and look how good and stable he looks. You can see some of the roots peeking through along the sides, which is what I love about this. You can kind of track and monitor if you have any issues, if you have any mold, if you have any development or fresh roots that come in, you can really kind of monitor the progress of your plant. So this is how it looks. And let me get all this stuff out of the way, and I will flush it one more time with the Physane solution, just because better safe than sorry. I'm gonna go ahead and dump this guy. So, actually, I'm hoping the camera will be able to see it if I place it here. I'm gonna go ahead and put that guy there. If you can see it. Move this guy right over. So then I'm just gonna take this and I'm gonna flush the system with the Physane solution one more time just to make sure everything is good and cleaned out. And I'm not even gonna bother with flushing the solution. The solution is not gonna hurt the plant. I'm just going to make sure, first that it goes in the sink. I'm just gonna make sure that it dries properly, and then tomorrow I will go ahead and give it its fertilizer solution, just like all of the other plants, and it will be good to go. All right, my friends, the final step in this process is to place my newly potted Psychopsis onto the warming mat. So the warming mat is to help germinate seedlings, but what it does when you have freshly potted a plant in semi-hydroponics is it's going to speed up the evaporation process and create a greater source of humidity. And it just helps the roots to acclimate a little bit better and kind of initiate that new fresh root growth. So I'm gonna let him sit on there for about a week to 2 weeks until he's developed a really significant thriving root system. And then I will place him in a similar light environment as Cattleyas and just make sure he's getting a lot of light and a lot of water.